So the United States has a very interesting approach to this war between Israel and Iran. According to reports just the other day, the U.S. has offered to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran. That is what we are now hearing, that the Biden administration is willing to give Israel money and additional military equipment if they hit the right targets. So essentially, don't go after some of the things that the United States doesn't want. Again, that could cause problems here in the U.S. Biden administration doesn't want that, especially just 1 month before the upcoming election. So today I'm going to break down what's going on. We're going to read through this article and talk about what happened just this morning as well. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, it is true. The U.S. has offered to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran. It says Israel has vowed a response to the attack, which saw over 180 missiles fired at Israel, killing a single Palestinian in the West Bank. Israel has yet to respond to Iran. Israel has put an attack into Lebanon, but not Iran itself. Now, today is October 7th, 2024. For most of you guys remember this, this is 1 year since the attacks occurred. This article from the AP says war rages on multiple fronts as Israel marks a year since Hamas's October 7th attack. You may remember that, okay? That attack took the lives of many people. Hundreds of hostages were captured, and this pretty much started us on the path that we're on today. Now, here's what you need to know as of this morning. It says Israel strikes Lebanon and Gaza on anniversary of October 7th Hamas attacks. It says, as Israel marks 1 year since Hamas killed and abducted hundreds of people on October 7th, 2023, the war in Gaza that day triggered has not abated. Instead, the fighting has expanded to Lebanon, threatened to engulf the region in a bloody conflict. Israeli forces continued fighting on both those fronts overnight, with Israel Defense Forces announcing that it hit targets linked to Hezbollah in Beirut and saying it thwarted an immediate threat from Hamas in Gaza. More than 41,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the start of the war, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. In Lebanon, hundreds have been killed and more than 1.2 million displaced, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency. Okay, now, here's a huge problem. We are going to continue to see these strikes. We're going to continue to see this fight. The protests that are happening around the world are going to continue to happen. Now, what we do know is what the United States has vowed. They said, and especially President Biden has said, that he doesn't agree with Benjamin Netanyahu on all fronts. However, Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East, so we are going to continue to support them. As a result, we have been supporting them. Well, this is why what the United States is doing and potentially sending compensation to Israel is considered the wrong move. I want to read this to you. It says, the U.S. has reportedly offered Israel a compensation package if it refrains from attacking certain targets in Iran, according to a report just yesterday. It says Amichai Stein told them that he had received reports from U.S. officials that the U.S. had offered Israel a compensation package if it refrained from hitting specific targets in Iran. This package was offered during negotiations between officials of the two countries on the type of response to the attack from Iran. Now, here's what we've heard. We've heard that the United States doesn't want Israel to attack Iran's nuke sites. Other reports say that no, that is exactly what we should attack. The other one is their oil facilities, that we should attack their oil facilities because this would hurt them, not just them specifically, but it would also hurt some of the other countries around them as well. Again, who they sell oil to. And the problem with that is the United States wouldn't just be getting into a bigger conflict with Iran, and Israel wouldn't, but Israel would be getting into a larger conflict with other countries as well, because now we're going to raise the prices of oil. But the United States, again, has vowed to protect Israel. So if Israel is under attack from somebody else, essentially the United States is under attack from somebody else. Look at this. It says the package would include a total guarantee of compensation, diplomatic protection, as well as a weapons package, and was offered directly in return for holding off on striking certain targets in Iran. Okay, what are those targets? Well, let's keep reading this article. It says quid pro quo. Stein summed it up saying, an American official said, if you don't hit targets A, B, C, we will provide you with diplomatic protection and an arms package. Israeli officials responded saying, we consider the United States and listen to them, but we will do anything and everything we can to protect the citizens and the security of the state of Israel. Okay. Now, we've known that. That's nothing new. But what we are kind of learning right now is that, yes, Israel keeps on saying that they respect the United States, they respect President Biden, but at the same time that the U.S. people, President Biden himself, we're not in Israel. We don't see what's going on. We don't feel the threat on a daily basis. So, as a result, he's going to do what he feels is right. With that said, where do we go from here? Well, here's the problem. This article from Reuters really sums it up well. It says, U.S. on Israeli bombing in Lebanon. Military pressure can enable diplomacy, but has risks. Now, I want to read you just the first paragraph of this article. It says, the U.S. government, reacting to Israel's heavy bombardment in Lebanon, said on Sunday that military pressure can enable diplomacy, but can also lead to miscalculations. If you remember back years ago, and this was back when Russia first attacked Ukraine and first invaded Ukraine, we kept hearing the same thing over and over, that the only thing that's going to take us to a war, okay, is going to be a miscalculation, okay, or misinformation. It was going to be one of the two, all right? Well, three, or simple mistake. The 3 M's. Again, all those are mistakes, okay? The miscalculation's a big one. If something is miscalculated, it's happened before, especially over in the Red Sea, where a missile from the Yemen Houthis almost hit a Russian ship. That would have been devastating, okay? But again, a simple miscalculation. I think it missed by like 20 feet or something like that. It was pretty close. And so these are things that we need to be prepared for. And according to this article, it says that military pressure can enable diplomacy, but on the flip side, it can also lead to miscalculations. So we're going to see what happens moving forward. The only thing that I think is very interesting at this time, or the one thing I think is extremely interesting, is how the United States is potentially going to bribe Israel into hitting specific targets. Now, is Israel choosing the targets that they are going to hit, or is the United States involved in choosing these as well? That's something we don't know just yet, but I would assume that today something is going to happen and we will have answers. So, as we get more information, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.